Hey guys, and welcome to another NECP Performance Podcast. How we doing, Charlotte? We good?
I'm very well, thank you. Yes, are you?
Yes, I'm good, thanks. I'm
Good.
good. Sorry, just pick this up. But yes, I am good. So I am Steve Gordon. Like I say, I'm joined by Charlotte Well. How's your week been then, Charlotte? How's life treating you?
Yeah, I've had a good week. I've had I'm trying to think what I've been doing. Kids have been interesting, trying to get them to stay on track with training and schoolwork. It's becoming increasingly more difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's been good, and I've rejigged my training a little bit this week, which was good. I did that last week as well, and just obviously with me doing all of the outdoor training with the groups now. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've managed to stay on track with my training. It's been nice because I've been having the group trainings, so getting a lot of interaction again, face to face,
Yeah.
and feedback and actual coaching. Like which you just miss, don't you, from being on a screen all the time. So
Oh, absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah,
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree
yeah.
more.
But no, so that's been really, really nice.
Good
Yeah.
stuff.
How about you?
Yeah, this week's been good. It's been ripping out more walls in the gym.
Oh yeah.
Getting plumbing sorted, getting electric sorted, and stuff like that. Also, just landed a contract to be doing a lead tutor role on a mentorship program for a lot of
Oh,
S&C coaches.
brilliant,
So,
brilliant.
so that work's going to come in soon and start snowballing. And yeah, I started working with a few more youth athletes and stuff as
Yeah.
well, which has been good. Really, really good. The feedback and stuff's been really nice to get. I think sometimes it's just easy to take what you do for granted, as you know. So
Yeah.
you get messages from parents and stuff like that. It's like, all right, okay, we're making a good difference here.
Yeah. It reminds you why you're doing it.
Yeah, exactly that. But yeah, but training wise is. I feel like I'm not doing a lot, but when I break it down, I'm like, I am. It's just
Yeah.
because I'm not doing a lot of kettlebell training, sort of
Right.
training 2 to 3 times a week on the
Yeah.
bells. But then 2 nights I'm doing sprint training. Then obviously I do join in with like the conditioning workouts on the Saturday mornings and
Yeah.
stuff like that as well. So yeah, in training wise, still getting a lot in and stuff as well. So
Yeah.
it's going good at the moment.
Good.
It's
Good.
going
Yeah.
good. So can't
I know I don't
complain.
think either of us have ever trained so much in our lives, have
No.
we? So you kind of like, because obviously because seeing everyone face to face, and I was talking to someone the other day, and they said, so how many times are you training? And I was like, well, I've actually I said this last 2 weeks I've managed to get it down to just 7 sessions, and
Yeah.
then I was like, I've got it down to 7 because I was doing like 9 or 10.
Oh no.
So like yes, and I've pulled it back, and like you're saying, I don't feel like I'm almost feeling like, am I doing enough?
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, but it's probably
Yeah.
doing me good actually. It's probably not a
Yeah.
bad thing. But yeah, I think because I'm only doing 2 bell sessions a week
Mm.
at the moment. But like you say, all the other stuff on top of it as well. And I think because we're so used to being in the gym and doing all those sessions, aren't we? And
Yeah, that's it. It's like, in the lead up to a competition, it's like the kettlebells in your hand pretty much every single day, isn't it?
yeah,
Do you
yeah,
know?
getting
So
some form, yeah, definitely.
it's been
Yeah,
a tough week on the bells this week though, because it's athleticism week, which is kind of endurance based and stuff like
yeah,
that. So yeah, really really challenging
yeah.
on Wednesday. Wednesday was a tough one.
The 5 minutes of each.
Yeah,
Yeah,
three 5-minute sets.
yes, yeah.
And then Monday, I think Monday was
What did we
Monday
do on
again.
Monday?
I
We
can't
did.
remember what we did.
It was it was a longish one, wasn't it? I think I can't even remember what we did on
Yeah.
because
Oh, it was
Wednesday's blocked it out.
it was the swing, clean, bump, jerk.
Oh, that was awful.
Yeah, yes, that was it. Yeah. No wonder we didn't want to remember that.
Yeah, that was really awful. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that was actually worse than Wednesday,
yeah.
just
Well,
because it didn't flow.
yeah, Wednesday's just a grinding
Yeah,
session, wasn't it? And
yeah,
just I think it was when the heat had just changed as well, the temperature, so it was like really wet but warm, so everything was just sticky, and I thought,
Yeah.
I'm probably going to end up with 2 holes in the kitchen floor at any moment now.
Yeah, I know. Well, I did that session yesterday and it was just threatening to rain, but I managed to do it before the heavens opened because I was
Yeah.
in the garden. But it was one of those sessions where I just didn't want to train.
Mm.
You know, I was like, every excuse under the sun. And I was saying to Mike, yeah, I've got to train now. And he's going, what are you telling me for? I was like, yeah, I've just got to train. He went, well, just do it then. Why are you telling me? You're telling me you don't want to do it, aren't you? I was like, yeah, yeah, I just don't want to do it. It was a real suck it up session. Just turn up and just do it. And it was actually okay once I was doing it, apart from the last 5 minutes of cleans. But yeah, it was a real sort of mental tough one where you know, when we say to people, we've just got to turn up and do it.
Yeah, defo.
That was that one for me on Friday.
Yeah, that's it. But the thing is, though, you're able to reflect, isn't it? And although that short-term suck was like, oh, this is awful, I hate it, actually, no, I can turn up and get stuff done, even when I don't feel like it, rather than sat there on Saturday morning or tomorrow or something, just going, oh, I miss that session.
Yeah.
Do it. Because it just nags at you, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? When you miss a session, it's like, you didn't do that one. You didn't do that one. You're like, right, okay.
Yeah, and Mike proper double bluffed me. He went, you don't have to do it. You can do it. You can do whatever you want. You don't have to do it. I was like, well, you know, I'm going to do it. You don't have to do it. And if I don't do it, I'll feel like you say. I know I had a proper full-on battle, and yeah, he was properly properly trying to psych me in and out of it. But it worked.
Yeah, we've all been there. I've seen warm-ups last about 90 minutes before I've even started doing meaningful work.
Yeah, I'm sure that's one of our youth athletes, isn't it, on a Saturday morning?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
He knows who he is.
Yeah, defo. But yeah, that's what they get sucked into. But I mean, on the youth athletes, I got a really nice testimonial from one of the kids, and I got a really nice comment. I was chatting to one of the parents, and while he was cooling down and stuff, and she was like, "Do you know what? You've picked up on stuff that I was kind of aware of, but we haven't been able to pinpoint it for years, and like within 2 sessions you've picked up on it and you're starting to correct it and fix it and stuff." And I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool, isn't it? And as I do, like, I analyze that, and I was like, because that's a really good tool to have. And I think sometimes you're just like, oh yeah, it's just something I do. So it's sort of forced me to recognize, why do I think like that? And I think it goes back to, we see, we're dealing with the athlete. We're not just giving them the sets and the reps, and we're not just sort of looking at that. It's kind of look at movement first, look at how they step, how they lunge, how they move, and all of these things, and how they take in information and process it and stuff like that. So yeah, it was quite a good thing to have that. It's like, no, actually, just the coordination. Coordination is key when it comes to training. So it was quite a nice win, that one.
Oh, good, excellent, good stuff.
So yeah, which wanted to bring me to a question for you, Charlotte, in terms of what's kind of the mission with your coach, and what's led you to the type of coach you are today. What got you here?
Well, I suppose for me, I've always been in a role where I've always worked with people in some capacity. I've always had a very people-facing role, whether that be in sales or recruitment, or then helping unemployed people back into work, and then finding my way into the gym environment. And I suppose the one underriding factor has always been that kind of making a difference to somebody, actually helping somebody improve an aspect of their life.
Yeah.
Obviously, in recruitment, that was a ruthless job, but finding them the dream job that would help them in terms of their career aspirations. And then there were a couple of really amazing people that stood out who, when I used to work with long-term unemployed people, and I dealt with a lot of people that couldn't really be bothered, but the people that stood out were the ones that you made a real difference to their lives. And then in the gym environment, it's the same. It's for me, it's those little things like, you know, I've had women say to me, I've looked in the mirror and for the first time in my life, I'm not disgusted with what I see. Do you know? It's
Yeah.
those comments, and you just think, yes. Do you
Yeah.
know, like, you're happy. It's like I want to help people just become happy and better versions of themselves, because, you know, most people turn to training to improve
Mm.
an aspect of their life, don't they? Whether that be, you know, confidence, or body confidence, or mental confidence, or you know, or even just, you know, they just want to get strong, or and
Yeah.
it's just that ability to help them to do that.
Mm.
Not I don't do that. It's giving them the tools to do that.
Yeah.
And that, yeah, that's what drives me, and I think that's what keeps me going. And some days, you know what it's like when you're your own boss, and some days you've got the daily grind and it's hard work and it's a slog,
Yeah.
and then you might get a message out of the blue from someone and say, oh, do you know, yeah, I feel brilliant, and I've done this and I've done that, and it's not an ego thing.
No.
It isn't. It's not a like, oh yeah, I've done that. It's like, oh, I'm really pleased that I've been able to help somebody to get where they want to be.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
just improve their lives in one form or another. And
It's
I
good.
think, you know, it's about coaching the person for me as well. Like, you know,
Mm.
I've done the big group training where you and you kind of like, you know, you just roll something out and it's not individual, and it's not,
Yeah.
isn't, for me, it's that I love the relationship side and getting to know the person.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm quite close to some of my clients in a weird way. No, it's kind of, you know, we've
Yeah.
got a good relationship and we know a lot about each other, and it's nice.
Mm.
You know, it's kind of, clients almost become your friends, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. But I
And
think it's that human element of it, isn't
yeah,
it? I think it deep down, I think all human beings are just designed to help one another and stuff. And I think that's what makes it so good, because it's just so impactful on a deeper level. You know, like I
yeah,
say, it's not an ego thing. Because if it was an ego thing, it'd be straight on social media and all of that kind of thing. And
which we're really bad
yeah,
at.
tooting your own horn and stuff. But it's kind of just like you say, that human element of it, of just, yeah, I'm making a difference here.
Yeah,
That's really, really profound, you know what I mean? And it just has a massive impact. So when you're getting that feedback, um,
yeah,
it's megally powerful, isn't it?
yeah, definitely. And it's when people kind of, you know, it's especially if they've been struggling for a long time with
Mm.
things, and it's that sort of, you know, that light bulb moment when
Yeah.
like, oh, all right, wow, and or on things that I suppose as well, you know, as coaches we take things for granted, don't we? That we know things,
Mm.
and it's like it's obvious.
Yeah.
But it's not obvious to everybody. We forget, and I forget that sometimes. And
Yeah.
you say things to people that you think are really obvious and clear, and then and to them it's an absolute revelation. And I suppose that comes down to your knowledge and your learning, doesn't it? And you know, and passing that on
Mm.
to them. And I think, yeah, yeah.
It
What about
is.
you? Is that the same sort of similar? Kind of
Yeah,
got you to where
coaching.
you are.
Yeah, well, coaching was interesting for me, because I went on a bit of a journey not so long back to really dig into, like, why did I just get involved with this?
Mm,
And I think I've always been kind of a kind of a team player, and the kind of the motivator, and trying to push people. And I remember the first time at school when you do your gym lessons down at the Dolphin Centre, and I was already training and down at Potsy's gym up at
oh,
Bongate, going up the stairs like
yeah.
14 years old, 15
Yeah.
years old and stuff, and training in there. So I was always used to that kind of being around people who were just like, oh, come on, let's do more reps, do more reps. And that just sort of it's infectious.
Yeah.
Just seeing other people encourage each other and having somebody encouraging you,
Mm,
because I am kind of one of them people that you've got a difficult road and you've got a hard road, an easy road. So I'll generally always take the easy road, just the way I kind of am, you know.
mm,
So I know how important it is to have somebody encouraging you and pushing you that way.
mm.
But kind of what drove me to becoming not a trainer, but becoming a coach. And I think that's a really important differentiation. There's a difference between a trainer. Trainer knows about physical fitness and stuff, but coach is, again, has that connection on so much more of a deeper level. But I went back, and it was kind of when I was kind of like 18, 19, very much of a live for the weekend kind of lad, you know, just go out, get drunk at the weekend. And it was kind of that cycle of, right, survive the week until Friday and then go out on the smash all day on Saturday, and just like hang over and die on a Sunday, and just kind of that cycle, you know, of just going out.
Sorry, I just put my dog back out. Sorry.
Yeah.
She's just shut the door open. Stay out there. Sorry.
That's it. Guest appearance.
Yeah, that's Missy.
But
yeah.
And then I got introduced into Thai boxing, and the coach at the time was Paul Pearson. I still speak to him.
Oh yeah.
He had a really profound impact on me, and I don't think at the time I really appreciated it, just what he was doing to me. I think he showed me the power of being a really good coach, and like we say, helping people and connecting with people, and kind of the fulfillment that gives you. So it was kind of like, right, okay, I'm becoming a coach, become more knowledgeable. How do you connect with people? How do you become better? And then that was reinvigorated in 2015 on a mentorship course that I did with obviously Brendan, that you know. Yeah. And again, that just raised me up to a complete different level, where I was no longer a trainer. I was a coach, and never really looked back then. But it just comes back from that, just helping people just discover, just help them break down the barriers that they've either had placed on them by other people or they've placed on themselves, and helping them to realize that obstacles don't block the path, that they kind of are the path, you know. And more so in the kids, specifically these days, you know, 2 sessions this week, which were back to back. Every single session was the change in the mood. Straight away, the change in the mood, you know, somebody who's had parents have been banging their head against a brick wall and really struggling and stuff like that, then all of a sudden, within the space of an hour, a completely different kid.
Yeah.
Do you know? And it's just having that, again, that connection, and giving them that self-belief from somebody that isn't the parent, because kids are like, well, you got to say that you're my mum.
Yeah.
You got to say that you're my dad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what kind of spurs me on to become the best version of myself possible, so then I can fill other people's cup and give them that self-belief and stuff.
Yeah, I think as well, because when I first got into, I've sort of dipped in and out with just training and things over the years, mainly running, to be honest, until probably till I started training with you. No, that was about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
4 years ago.
because you were training for the Great North Run. Was it the Great North, or was it the Liverpool half?
Great North, no, that was later. It was Great North Run.
Yeah.
And I think I was probably, I know I was very much a trainer, and I was teaching group exercise classes, and I was very much a trainer, but I knew
so were you Zumba pants?
Pardon?
Was that with your Zumba pants and the big flary pants? I know, I've seen you dance, Charlotte. It doesn't happen.
I know, yeah. But no, it definitely was. And it was that transition really that I've made since I've obviously been working with you, where I've become, you know, and obviously I've done BC's course as well, and Brendan's course as well. And it's kind of, it does take, it is a transition very much from a trainer to a coach. And I'm massively on that journey. It's only been 2 and a bit years since I moved over to Two Nova. But I've seen a noticeable difference, you know, in terms of coaching. And not a lot of that, you can take the credit for that. And I'm only going to say that once.
Yeah, but I've got this recorded, so I'm just going to snip it down, and I'm just going to play it on repeat. I'm gonna dub it into tracks. So next time when we've got music in the gym, it's be like a heavy bass tune, and all of a sudden it's like you could take credit for that. What?
Why did I say that? Oh, you're gonna
No,
milk that one
I
forever.
won't that much
But
anyway.
no, but credit where credit's due. You know, a lot of the
Yeah.
learning that I've done has been down to you and Brendan and Si and you know, and it is a very different way of thinking. But to me personally, it's better because it gives me that human element, and a lot of the learning that I do isn't actually about the reps and sets. It's not about that. It's more about mindset, you know, and more about the kind of, you know, the motivation and other stuff that goes on, and the sociological side, the sort of sociological side, and the, you know, the other bits, which actually that's what it's more about, that, isn't it, than the reps and the sets. Anyone can. I remember Brendan said it, and I think you probably said it as well. You know, anyone can put a program together, can't they? Really, you can pull one down online. If we Google now, we'll do strength training or fat loss training. There'll be a million programs out there, but if you can't deliver that in a way that's going to engage somebody, you're not going to get any results.
No, that's it.
You can't develop that relationship with somebody.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of, it goes back to, is it people come for the training, but they stay for the community.
Yeah.
And they stay for the connection.
Yeah.
You know, and I think truly that's really what we're trying to achieve. And for me, coaching doesn't just happen in the gym. It happens, you know, whether I'm coaching, like just chatting to you and coaching and just, you know, putting perspective onto things, and just, it's kind of like what we always do for our clients. You're just shining a light in a dark place for them sometimes, just to go, you know, we're just bringing it to the forefront of the mind, you know what I mean? And obviously lately for me, the next journey is, and I'm quite content with it now, is actually the ontology of knowing that you can't know everything, you never will know everything. And I think that's the open-minded coach of just going, you know what, I'm never going to know everything. I'm going to keep on learning. Do you know, I'm going to keep on searching for that wisdom and stuff. Do you know what I mean? But it's kind of like, it's like, I don't know everything. I'm trying to do the best I can. And I think that's what keeps you going as a coach, and understanding that, no, actually what I'm doing is enough, and I'm going to keep on doing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And just always, it's like that sort of constant evolution, isn't it? And I think as well, especially in our industry, it's not black and white.
It's a massive grey. Absolute massive
It's just
grey.
one big swamp.
Yeah,
really.
that's it. That's it.
You know, it's kind of, you know, it is about just constantly having to update knowledge, but also just you know, look at new ideas. And like you say, always being open. But that's a good thing. That's an exciting thing, isn't it? You know. And actually, you know, having those kind of light bulb moments where you go, all right, actually, I'm going to apply that, and that works. You know, my in fact, the last sort of few months, I've learned a lot about kind of external influences, especially with women, and how that affects women's training, which you don't even think about. And, you know, as a woman, and you kind of, I get that. Do you know? And it's kind of all those different factors that influence how women think and how they behave, and especially with training as well, that you just, you know, a lot of people don't think about that.
No.
They just think that women are small men. And they train them like small men.
Yeah.
And actually, there are a lot of differences, and it's been really, really interesting to kind of get to grips with that and understand that and apply that to my coaching. And I can apply it to the men too, that I coach. But the majority of my clients are women. So.
Yeah, and I think it is just going down that little rabbit hole, isn't it? You know, but I think what was interesting, I saw a quote today on the performance training course that I'm doing, performance therapy, sorry. And it's very much the first part of the course is all about philosophy. And there was an interesting, I can't remember if it was Descartes or Voltaire or somebody who said, kind of, if you think that thought is going to be independent of man's context, you know, you're a bit of a fool. You know,
Yeah.
that's I've really bastardized that.
I think I saw that. I think you did put it on your story.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
read it.
that's
Yeah,
it.
it's good. Yeah.
And I think it's really interesting, isn't it? Because like my background is massively to do with kettlebell training, you know, and I'll always, and I love that tie and stuff. But it's very easy for me to have that bias and that thought process of, well, kettlebells are the be all and end all, and
Yeah.
they're amazing and they'll cure everything, you know, world hunger and absolutely
Yeah.
everything. Just lift a kettlebell and
Yeah.
you'll be fine. You know, but I think it's accepting that philosophy is always going to, it's always going to drive your planning, which will then drive your periodization, which will then drive your program,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is quite interesting. And I think recognizing that also brings it to the forefront of every time you go to write something or you go to think about applying a coaching principle or just to a certain context, it's important to stop yourself and go, am I seeing this through my lens, or do I need to take this set of lenses off and do I need to look through it in a different format? Do you
Yeah.
know? Because everything we've got is always going to be biased. You know,
Yeah.
your training and your ethos will always be sort of biased from a female's point of view. Why? Because you're female.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
language, the terminology, the approach, the kind of the setup of the environment that you're doing your training in will always be catered more towards the females, because obviously that's who you're training with and stuff as well.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
It's just important to
Definitely.
catch yourself, isn't it, as a coach, and go, am I doing this because it's my philosophy, or am I doing this because it's my bias? And then
Yeah.
the question is can it, those two can't be independent.
Mm.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
How can
So
you
it's,
detach one from the other?
yeah, but will it ever happen? You
Yeah.
know, is it possible for that to ever happen? I don't know. You know, you just sort of catch yourself and you make a different sort of situations. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. And also it's like the sort of your kind of thought process and your bias as well, and then you could go even deeper into that in terms of the whole sort of social constructs as well, in
Yeah.
terms of, you know, I suppose as well that's quite relevant at the moment, isn't it, in terms of what's going on in the world and people having to question their own sort of morality and things,
Yeah.
with all of the, you know, the stuff that's going on with Black Lives Matter, and you
Mm.
know, there are so many different influences even that will just affect your coaching, aren't there?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you could go on forever about that one.
Yeah.
You
Well,
could get very deep about that. But yeah, it's kind of like I think you're always going to have a level of bias. I think, how can you not? I'm a woman, you're a man.
yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's like,
That's it.
you know, and as long as you know that the outcome and the goal that you've got is the right one for that individual, it comes down to that, doesn't it? And just, you know, making sure that everything you're doing is very person centric, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
down to the goal of whoever it is you're working with, you know.
Absolutely. And I think the thing is everything that we're trying to do is we're trying to apply a bit of rationale to complete chaos, and you're just dancing with chaos all of the time. Because I love it when we get a client who, and we chat about it, don't we? You're like, I've tried this, I've tried that, I've done this, I've done that, and I just feel like I'm hitting a brick wall here. What can we do? So I love that. I love that, because it's that problem solving, and it also makes you question and just go, right, okay, well, the science says this, but it doesn't work in an applied setting.
Yeah.
Because I have it with my sprinters. You know, for example, I know that I need to strengthen their hamstrings on that lowering phase, eccentrically. I know they need to have strong hamstrings, but they could display strong hamstrings in a certain test or a leg curl or whatever it may be. But when they go on the track, it breaks.
Yeah.
Do you know? So it's like, right, okay, well, I'll teach this person how to overhead squat. I'll do all of these stretches on the shoulder, and hopefully that'll improve their shoulder mobility. And you go, hasn't worked.
Yeah.
What's next? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it's just interesting. And that's when you become a coach and you recognize, right, okay, I just need to keep on solving things. I need to keep on trying things. I need to be creative. And just accepting that everything you do, you are trying to apply order to a chaotic environment. And
and I think it's important to actually go, well, that is the strategy that actually, because sometimes you can go, well, I've failed. You know, and actually what you need to remember is that you haven't failed. A person has never failed. And this can be applied to a lot of things as well, but it's actually the strategy that failed you in that particular instance. So what you need to do is go back and find another strategy, you know, and not see it as because sometimes you do bang your head against a brick wall, don't you? And you're kind of like, actually, what am I doing? You know, what am I doing wrong? And it's like, you're not doing anything wrong. You're going through that. You've got to trust the process, haven't you?
That's it.
And it is, you know, at the end of the day, we're not robots. So just because a textbook says that should happen, and that, you know, it's not always, like you say, it's not always the case, is it?
No, not at all. Not at all.
And I think so long as you know you don't stop trying.
Yeah.
That's the thing, isn't it? You kind of, you know, and I think that comes down to that relationship as well with clients, and knowing that, holding your hands up and going, look, we've tried this. For whatever reason, it's not worked. Let's go down a different route, and this is the reasons why.
Yeah.
And I think you've got to always have that integrity and be honest, and not wash over things and say, well, it's because you didn't do this, or, you know, because you hear it, you know, and it's like, actually, that's where that sort of partnership approach comes in, and being completely open and honest all the time as well.
Yeah.
Which can be hard sometimes, especially if people aren't getting the results straight away, and you know, but you just got to keep on pushing on, haven't you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, it's interesting, the world of coaching and dealing with human beings and the complexity. And I think that's why, with the last point on this that I want to kind of make is when you are investing in a coach, understand that you're not just dealing with somebody who's going to write you a program. You're not going to. That's not what you should be paying for. You're not paying for a program of sets and reps, or this type of training, or this technique, or whatever it may be. You should be paying for a coach, somebody who can just constantly ebb and flow and change their thinking style, and kind of 1 minute it's reductionist thinking, it's kind of a small problem, so we go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, and then they peel back and they go, actually, it's more synthesis, we need to go wider here, it's a big problem now, do you know? And I think understanding from a client's point of view, and I know this can sound a bit like, what are these guys waffling on about, but actually having a coach that can adapt and change their thought process and for your betterment, that's what you're paying for. That's ultimately what you should be getting from when you are working with somebody one-to-one. Because if it was all about the sets and reps, our life would be so much easier, wouldn't it, Charlotte?
Wouldn't it? Yeah, great. There you go.
3 sets of 10 and that'll work.
Yeah.
You know, brilliant. That's it. Come back next week. You know.
Like 1 hour a week. Yeah, you'd be fine. Of course you get results.
But recognize, like, when you work with one of us, it's kind of, we're all in. You know, we care about what you do in the gym. We care about what happens outside of the gym. We care about how you respond to training, how you don't respond to training, how you respond to work, how you don't respond to work, what little triggers, how do you manage things and stuff like that, you know, and we just constantly adapt around that. And I think that's, again, that's what you're paying for when it comes to coaching, not training.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
Deep, that one, isn't it? It's deep coaching.
Deep coaching.
That's it. Get all philosophical.
I know.
It's good though. It's good. It's good because I think for me, more important than anything, it's kind of like, yeah, all of the stuff that I'm learning and reading at the moment is just giving me a different lens to look through.
Yeah.
And it's quite good to share that, because I think sometimes as coaches, it's kind of, you feel, rightly or wrongly so, you feel that you should be the positive, you should be the all-knowing being that lives at the top of the Himalayan mountains drinking rock salt tea and
Yeah, that's
whatever
it.
else it
Yeah,
may
yeah,
be,
yeah.
and stuff like that. And we
Yeah.
wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, we do 500 burpees and, loads of jump squats, and we
Yeah,
never,
yeah.
processed food never crosses our lips, and we never drink alcohol and all that kind of stuff. I don't even own a TV.
No, oh no, of course not. All we do is read and eat books.
That's it,
Yeah. Yeah.
all of that kind of stuff. But I think it's quite interesting to share the journey that you're on and share your
Yeah.
learnings, because I think it's important for clients to know that we're not completely infallible and we're still going through a process ourselves.
Yeah.
But also, you gotta see me as the person at the front of clearing the bush. So we're trapped in
Yeah.
the
We're the
forest.
trailblazers.
We are just there with a big machete,
Yeah.
wading through, cut down that
Yeah.
branch. There's a lion there, guys. We're gonna go this way.
It's a good analogy.
That's it, and that's what it's about. I think it's important for
Yeah.
people to see that.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
too many PTs are all about the six-pack abs and the high-waisted leggings. That's just the men.
Yeah.
Doing
Crop top.
training videos and all that kind of stuff, and they're ripped,
Yeah.
so it must be great. It must be a great program, but
Yeah.
for me, it's just a different beast.
I think we shy away from that, don't we? I think that's not really us.
Well,
Is
yeah,
it?
I've ordered some high-waisted leggings, Charles.
Oh, yeah. You've done.
I've got a belly bar. I've got a belly bar coming. I've got a belly bar coming in a crop top.
Yeah, I can just see that. You have done a couple of ab shots, to be fair.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Yeah, we know you've got a six-pack.
That's
but
it.
Yeah, but I think, yeah, like you say, it's kind of that isn't our style, is it, of coaching? It's not about that. We are human. Because for me as well, if I was looking for a coach that would kind of almost intimidate me a little bit as well, because you've got to be real, haven't you? And people are real. And a lot of our coaching is about, you need to be able to live your life. For me, anyway, my ethos is very much about long-term goals, in terms of, you need to be able to live. You need, you've got kids, you've got a job, you've got a partner. If you might not be, you have a business. There's lots of other elements. So the training is just that little bit of it. And for me, you have to be real. Yeah, if you want to eat some Haribo, eat some Haribo. It's not, if you go for a run, be consistent, do all the stuff you need to do, but then be human.
Yeah,
unless you want to come and unless you're training for an extreme event, that's different, isn't it? But
yeah, that's and I think that and that's perfectly putting it up, and I think the types of coaching we are, and I think sometimes do the odd shot and the gunshot and everything else after training and stuff like that. And I think sometimes it's the perception of like, we have to kind of do this as proof of concept a little bit.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm egotistical. Like
we know.
I want to see like loads of likes, and I want to see thumbs up, and I want to see comments of like, looking good, Steve. Oh, amazing. Delete the ones that say I look like a bag of sick.
Melted wheelie bin.
That's it. Steve, you've put me off my dinner. That kind of thing. Just delete them. Great function. But
ban from pay.
But yeah, like I said, I think sharing the human side and sharing the coaching side is powerful.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely.
Good. It's good. Right. Well, I think after that one, I think that was more therapy and sharing for us than education for other people, wasn't
it? Sharing is caring, Steve.
That's it. Yeah. I'm sure people watch this on mute now.
Do you reckon? Well, why would they even have it on mute though? Because they want to look at our faces.
Yeah, that's
Are they waiting for the guns shot?
Yeah, well, I think what they're doing is like, they mute it and they're hearing what they want to hear. Do you know what I mean?
Just generally like they do in the gym anyway.
Yeah, that's it. It's just white noise.
Yeah,
You know,
we'll
this is just
mute our
it's just a
coaches.
high pitched screech. It's just beep all the way along. But Charlotte, you said I could drink that case of wine and
Yeah,
be
that's what I
fine.
know.
You said that on your podcast.
Yeah, Haribo. You said I could eat all that Haribo. It would be
That's it.
fine
Yeah.
because I'm a human. Yeah.
There's just like silhouettes of people that have just went out and bought like multi bags and finding the kids' Halloween stash and all that now, just getting smashed into it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, no. Okay, I'm drinking water.
That's it.
Okay, I'm gonna go and have some. I don't know what I'm having for my tea. No, we'll be healthy.
Ah, that's it. That's
Yeah,
it.
ish.
Yeah, that's
ish.
it. Right.
Cool, good stuff.
That was absolutely awesome, guys. I really hope you enjoyed that, and hopefully the key takeaways from this one is the human side of coaching and just how important that is. And when you're looking to invest in a coach, or if you're working with a coach, make sure you've got that human element and you've got that human side to things, because science is catching up now, and science has proven that these connections are really powerful, and they actually have a bigger impact on your training than what you may think. So I think that's kind of a big takeaway from today's session.
Yeah,
cool. Right, have you got any quotes to leave us out with, Charles? I think you had one earlier, didn't you? Or have you deleted it?
No.
On the spot. On the
I
spot.
know.
Oh, she's all flustered. She's all flustered.
I have a few. But...
Guys, if she doesn't get one in 10 seconds, we'll make her do 500 burpees,
Yeah, I know, but I didn't screenshot the one that I was going to quote with.
She wasn't due diligent for you guys. She didn't put enough effort in for you.
I wasn't. Okay, I've got one here actually. I didn't read this one out to you though. This is a guy called. Have you heard of a guy called Arthur Ashe?
I haven't.
Right. Okay. So it's prominent at this point in time, and this is a guy called Arthur Ashe, and he was basically the first black man to win the US Open, the Wimbledon, and the Australian Open.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, he's actually sadly he's dead now. Unfortunately, his statue was vandalized earlier on this week in America, but hey ho. But he has written a book, and he's written a book about, and this part is about change, and this is an interesting one, quite pertinent at the moment. Most people resist change even when it promises to be for the better, but change will come, and if you acknowledge this simple but undisputable fact of life and understand that you must adjust to all change, then you will have a head start.
Nice.
I quite like that.
Yeah, it is. It's good. It makes me think of a few other things that I've been going through lately in terms of the philosophy and everything else as well. So yeah, like it.
Good. I pulled that one out of the bag, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. You did. We'll let her off, guys. We'll let her off. Right, guys, that was absolutely awesome. Charles, amazing as ever, and I'm looking forward to sharing more insights next week on our NECP. See you later, guys.